Did you know that what's in your water could be harming you? From toxic metals to bromine, chlorine, and fluoride, your symptoms could be pointing to your water source. Sarah had some health issues until she discovered her water was the culprit. Once she got chelated, her whole entire health turned around. She came into our office and presented with sudden and unexplained hair loss, alopecia. She underwent some testing and discovered that thallium in her home drinking water was causing the problem. Once she got a filtration system and went through rounds of chelation, her health and well-being went back to normal, and her hair regrew. This is why someone well-versed in functional medicine can really help you out. What we found with her just underscores the importance of testing. The halides are chlorine, fluoride, and bromine. A lot of times you'll get this through your drinking water, your tap water, and most of the times the filter won't get it out. These things can antagonize iodine, the main element that your body uses for your thyroid functioning. It can impact your pineal gland as well, your growth. So many different hormones are impacted from just this one tiny element being deficient in your body. There is also a connection between these disorders and mental health. Even alexithymia, aka the emotional blindness, often found in disorders like autism and linked to PTSD and eating disorders, among other seemingly unrelated disorders. They all may stem from the same root cause. Much like a weed, you have to dig it out from the roots, and that takes care of cutting the rest down. Chlorine, commonly found in tap water and swimming pools, can displace iodine in the body. Fluoride, often added to drinking water as well and dental products, can also compete with that same iodine. Bromine, found in pesticides, flame retardants, medications, and some baked goods, can similarly antagonize iodine. Testing for halides involves assessing the levels of these elements in the body through various methods such as urine or blood tests. Understanding how to restore iodine balance and optimize thyroid function is important. This may involve dietary modifications, supplementation with iodine or other nutrients, and minimizing exposure to halides in general. One of my latest clients had super high bromide levels, which led to questions about where that was coming from. Since it's commonly found in tap water, the usual next question is, do you drink tap water? When she said never, we explored a little more and found that it was coming from a medication she had been taking for a decade. The part that surprised me most was that she had the cleanest toxic metals panels I have ever seen. And it turned out that she only drank Crystal Geyser bottled water. Now, before you think this is a ploy to get some royalties from Crystal Geyser, there are many spring waters that can give you this same clean bill of health. The source of your water can affect your health so much, like in this client's case, that I think it saved her from really having a worse problem down the line. Various types of water purifiers available include those for showers, under the sink installations, and pitchers. In some cases, a multi-stage filter is what's needed, especially if you have something like chloramine added to your water treatment facilities. You have to check with that facility to find out what they use. These purifiers typically use KDF or carbon filters, or in some cases, reverse osmosis. Removing chlorine from shower heads can be particularly beneficial for situations like eczema or other skin disorders. Purifiers that use multi-stage chambers can even filter out VOC, or those volatile organic compounds that are common with plasticizers and other things. Pitcher water purifiers are standalone devices. I really like the Zero Water Pitcher. You can find that at Target or Walmart for pretty inexpensive. At the minimum, at least get Brita, but the Zero filter actually will filter out fluoride, which is something that many of them don't do. If you do get reverse osmosis, you have to think about the fact that minerals need to be replaced because reverse osmosis filters out even minerals that your body needs and usually gets from drinking water. If you can get bottled water, that's spring water, so much the better, but you still have the issue of plastic versus glass that you'll have to sort through. At some point, you're just going to do the best that you can do. But bear in mind that if you're having mental health issues or other kinds of challenges, a lot of times this can be traced back to your water source. So getting tested is your first point of what to do. Swimming pools with salt water as an antimicrobial agent, rather than chlorine pools, use a different approach to sanitize water compared to traditional chlorine-based pools. Instead of adding chlorine directly to the water, the saltwater pools generate chlorine from the salt through a process called electrolysis. The generator produces chlorines, which involve passing an electric current through the salt water to separate the sodium and the chloride. As a result, the chloride ions combine with water molecules to form hypochlorous acid and other chlorine compounds, which act as sanitizers to kill the bacteria, algae, and other microorganisms in the pool water. The chlorine generated by the saltwater system is typically lower in concentration compared to traditional swimming pools, and it results in milder water and less chemical load in your system, less irritating to the skin and the eyes. By continuously generating chlorine from salt, the saltwater pools provide consistent and reliable sanitation without the need for frequent manual additional chemicals. Saltwater pools also require less frequent monitoring and chemical adjustments compared to traditional chlorine pools, reducing the time and effort needed for pool maintenance. So it may be worth your while to look into them. They're also more environmentally friendly and eliminates the need for storing and handling chlorine chemicals, reducing the impact associated with traditional pool sanitation methods. Testing methods for both halides and toxic metals are relatively easy. We're looking at just urine output. They're both best done in a provocative test. What that means is you're using an agent that you're going to ingest as a provoker, meaning it's going to cause the body to spill out its contents. And that's whatever the tissues are holding on to. And require a baseline test, so you're going to do a pre-provocative test to just get an idea of what the body's currently just getting out, and then take the provoking agent, depending on whether you're testing for metals, that would be a chelation agent, or if you're testing for halides, that's going to be iodine. Once you take that, the next urine that comes out, and halides are collected for a 24-hour period. It takes a while for the body to get that out with the iodine. With respect to toxic metals, it's totally different. It takes about just the next urine sample, maybe 1 to 3 hours. That will show what your body is spilling out once you actually have something tugging at these elements. So easy tests to do at home. You generally get a kit and you order it. One of the things that's really important to know is that we're living in a toxic world. It's just everywhere. Even this beautiful beach, it's not clean. There's all kinds of chemicals out there. Who knows if it's Fukushima, whatever. Not to scare you. There is a way to get out of this. There's a way to protect yourself with respect to the filters and the swimming pools and still live a normal life. And there's a way to get better. If you notice that there's a problem, you can investigate it. These things can be dealt with naturally too, which is the best part, and then you can regain your health. Some of the things that we're looking at with respect to mental health are metal toxicity, even the iodine. I know in my case, my son did have a problem. He had failure to thrive from things going on in his gut, but he also wasn't growing. He stayed about the same height for about 3 years there until we figured out this halides test. Once we found out that his iodine was being antagonized and was resulting in his inability to grow, and we started giving him what he needed, then he sprouted up. And now he's the size he's supposed to be, rather than being on the lowest end of the scale of the growth chart. Some of the other things that you want to look out for are things like runoff from mines or pollution. One of the things that I did come across since my son had been diagnosed with autism is some research on the fact that Salt Lake City has the highest per capita autism rate in the United States. And one of the things that Salt Lake City has that nobody else seems to have is the largest open copper mine in the world. And there is a disease called Wilson's disease, in which a person can't get rid of the copper in his body. That will lead to essentially a mental disorder, usually dementia. However, in this case, with respect to the copper mine, and I'm just postulating here, it could be that there could be runoff of copper into the water systems and soil of the people living in that area, and they may be getting an overload of copper in their systems. So in that case, if I had a child in Salt Lake City with autism, a toxic metals panel would be my go-to in order to find out what's going on. There's a difference between a heavy metals panel and a toxic metals panel. With a toxic metals panel, they're testing for all the metals. It goes from heavy down all the way to light. Light metals would be something like your aluminum. So don't feel like just getting a heavy metals test panel is all you'll need. There's more to it than that. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and share it with someone who you think would benefit from it. Until we see you again, enjoy the beach, the pool, or whatever water source you're close to.